Good evening to all. I'm very pleased to be here, very happy. Today for me is kind of an interesting day and a special day because we celebrate it's la celebración de San Juan. It's like San John celebration, and then it represents somehow this coming out of a moment of deepening into the soul of going there where sometimes it's scary to go, and then coming out and inviting the light within to shine outside as well. Then yes, I'm honored to be here today. That this day, because of that as well, that we can recognize ourselves as the light that we have within, to put it on service for life in whatever thing we do. And in one of the things that I love to do is this approach of dentistry. And when I recognized that dentistry was more than just teeth and more than just taking cavities out, bacteria out, and putting materials in, then I kind of fall in love with dentistry. Before, I was just like kind of following like what I was asked to do, somehow very mechanical. And finally I understand why I studied dentistry 6 years in college, and why there was something behind it. Then this is a presentation that I did for the advanced general dentistry in some faculties of college in Costa Rica. And it's in English, but we will speak in Spanish. Then you will follow with me. Then is the path of the recognition of the self. This is the title that I give. The recognition of the self, it goes as a unity that is not only a part. And very often in the medical approach, there is a segregation in all the approaches, as we know. But focusing in the right sharing, then when we focus in this little aspect of health, and especially dentistry, when you go to dentist, they just see your mouth.
And recognition of self.
Exactly, the path of recognition of self. Then when we go to dentists to combine dentistry, what we expect is that there's something that could be solved, that could be a pain, that could be a discomfort, and it's okay. And there are techniques for that. Although there's a cause that goes beyond the symptom that is evident there. Then I will do like a little preamble, and then I would love to open for some questions and so on. Let's see, there is a message here in the chat. Okay. Sorry, ¿cómo lo paso? Okay, this is an image that I love so much because it is an interpretation of, as you see, these 7 spheres, the small spheres, are the chakras, with the colors of the chakras. And also within the 7 spheres, there are little 7 spheres within as well. And these spheres are related with other wider spheres with these colors. Then it's like an interpretation that we do have these aspects that we may call chakras. The chakras are related with our endocrine system. Then there are glands in our bodies. And they are not isolated, as we know. The body works in such a perfect way that everything is interconnected. Then these chakras are related with all the other chakras. They are not isolated neither. Then the information that these chakras, all of them provide, creates this olon. The olon is a Greek word that was described first for Arthur Koestler in the 80s, just recently, we may say. And this is a description that offers a possibility that we can see the whole and the part. The part as part of the whole, and the whole as the addition of the parts, but more than the addition of the parts. Then there is a complexity with it. And when we observe this term holistico or holistic, is that it is inclusive, that it invites all the different parts to create a new whole. And this whole is always renewing itself. because as we do change, this holistic approach within or in us, it's also changing. And because we are also changing in terms of a macro observation, like our community, for example, we are also changing in our dynamics in the community, in our countries, in our world. But going back to the self or to the being, then we may recognize ourselves first as a body, because this is the most tangible and evident. Although there is also other realms that includes this holistic approach and the way that I observe the health and the system. Look at these beautiful images. This is not something that was just created. This is, as we see, the shape of a heart, very evident. And with all these rivers surrounding it, then nature herself, seeing nature as a being, seeing nature as this term of Gaia or Mother Earth, the way it was seen and felt by the original cosmovisions of many original traditions in the earth, it's always showing us the olon, the fractals, that the pieces that we can see everything that we do have on a macro aspects on earth. Seeing, for example, these little leaves, that each one of these little ones is a fractal of the whole one, of this one. And then this one is a representation of this big one. Then also everything in nature and its patterns that Mandelbrot described in the 30s, the fractals, that are these expressions of nature that we see like the signature of God, they were saying, because it's all over, it's in everything. And because we are also part of the nature, of course, we do have that signature as well. And holistic and integrative holistic, then is the recognition of the global the global recognition of an object, an idea, and a person. Is the global recognition. It includes everything. And then this being includes, as we were saying, a tangible part that is the physical realm, the physical body, the mental body, that is all the realm of our thoughts, our ideas, the emotional realm, that is the emotional being, that includes, of course, all the emotions. And this is all interconnected, creating the self. When we see a person in a consultation just in the physical body, then we're missing two others, if not three, that I'm not saying here the spiritual realm, that what happened with the spiritual realm is that could inhabit us in the most efficient and deep way for us to express as we are truly who we are, when these other parts of the self, that is the body, the mind, the emotion, are in coherence. And this is another topic. I'm just going to stay with these aspects of the self that are the body, the mind, and the emotion. Hi, Jessie. Then the complete analysis of this self is in these aspects, it will give a particular reality that could be studied in different moments in life. Then when a patient arrives to the clinic, of course, there's a moment that I just want to stay silent in order to receive from the patient what is happening in their life in that moment. Because it's not only for the teeth that they are coming. There's something that is triggered probably in their teeth, in their oral health, that is related with something. And if there is nothing evident or in awareness, when we do a regular conventional cleaning, for example, and I start to go tooth by tooth with different observations because of a gum recession or because of a movement of a tooth or a cavity in a specific tooth, then there is information that we will come soon to that. And this information comes from the psyche, from very deepest part of our mind that is veiled for us, for our awareness. And when I bring that information forward, then it creates a resonance with the person. And the restoration of a tooth could become a restoration of a self. And I don't know if you're familiar with this, but this is more for dentists, specialists. This is an odonton. Odonton is the first cell of a tooth. And it was just for them, because this was shown for other group as well. But the then the paradigms, going to what we know about what is health and what is disease. And this is by the Health Organization, and who is like the organization, the Global Organization of Health. Then what is health is actually, in their statement, is the wellness of the physical, mental, and social aspects of a person. This is one of their concepts or their statement. Then this means that we, for being in health, in being healthy, we should be in wellness in all these aspects. And somehow this is kind of far from us, from so many. Then we are more close to the disease than to the health. And this is the idea or the paradigm, that is the way that we realize what we believe is true, or we realize what is the reality that we have trusted for so long. And this a lot of things that I'm going to present here, it goes more to just, for sure, you are familiar with these terms, and if not, just opening for new possibilities, because we're for sure in movements and shiftings of paradigms that is needed, that we bring back the true essence of what is truly health for us, and observing how far we have been from health, but not because of true health, but because of the information that has been shared for us. I'm just going to go very fast on this, that I observe very relevant in the way we think, how things are, in the way we recognize what is science and how the science approach to health. And these two are Béchamp and Pasteur. And as you see, these were contemporaries. And actually, Pasteur was an apprentice from Béchamp until a point that they were not working together anymore, and they were separated. This is important because the information that we receive about diseases or germs or bacteria as causes of diseases comes from Pasteur. It only comes from him. And the other information that was also revealed and studied and identified and classified from Béchamp was cancelled. And this is because Béchamp, he was recognizing that the diseases is not caused by the germs, for example. The germs are the result, not the cause. And all the way around, Pasteur was sharing the opposite of it, that the germs were the cause of the disease. This simple but very deep information create a whole realm, a whole new way of treatments, and started with all this pharmacologic era after these statements of Pasteur. And of course, people that were able to see all the economics of it, they get with the statements that were more favorable to them. Then it's truly something. There's more information about them that I'm commenting there, but I think only with that is good enough for us just to. There were already studies about something else, about how the health of the cell is the most important. And then all the studies of Pasteur were focused on knowing and studying the germs as the most important. Then where are we putting our attention? Where in all this time we have been putting our attention? In the colleges, in the universities, in all the different aspects of health. Ibn Sina, he was a doctor and first philosopher. He was the father of modern medicine, and he wrote that imagination is the half of the disease. That tranquility is the half of the remedy. And the patience is the beginning of the healing. Then it's relevant that a person like this share these kinds of statements in which we are relying all our difficulties on health only on the first half. And then somehow the physicians or the doctors or the healthcare practitioners, it's great that we are kind of evolving toward new ways of understanding and approaching to our patients. But for not so long ago, like my teachers, for example, they were still just in this half, just putting all the attention on the disease and on the fear that it can cause. And then tranquility, where was the tranquility? That is the half of the remedy. And patience that somehow through different kinds of approach of alternative and complementary, because we are not segregating that this allopathic medicine is not needed. It is needed when it's needed and could be complemented with so many other approaches. And this complementing therapeutic complement, this could be aromatherapy, could be traditional Chinese medicine that we saw with Jessica, could be homeopathy, pranayama, of course, all the breath work that we have been studying, synergetics, ozone therapy and infusions with IVs and vitamins, Ayurvedic and nutrition, neural therapy, or in odontology or in dentistry, we call ontología neurofocal, that's neurofocal dentistry. Then the psychoneural dentistry, that is an interesting approach. I'm passionate of that because of serving the tooth as a carrier of information, because of the enamel that is covered by this crystal that is called hydroxyapatite. And this crystal, as we know, as all the other crystals, is resonating, is vibrating. And then this same hydroxyapatite is localized in our pineal gland. Then there is an interaction there. And of course, the frequencies and microcurrents, I'm using currently the Healy, and I see all the complement that it could do in my patients to regulate stress in the body, to regulate pain, to observe different ways of realigning the mental and the emotional bodies, and so on. Then there are just some information here. Whoever wants the presentation, I can give it back. It's about the aromatherapy dedicated to as a medical model, or the way it could be used in dentistry as an oral part of oral epidemiology. Also some points in acupuncture. That's although if I don't apply the needles of acupuncture, I do acupressure to some of my patients. And then of course I do work also with neural therapy, in which I apply this substance that is called procaine in some of the acupuncture points as well, in the head, but also in other parts of the body. Homeopathy, that there are some many formulas for the health and management of pain management and others. But here are some just for the ones that I use the most in case of related with the dental or anxiety, for example, or pulpitis, that is the inflammation of the pulp, or bad breath, or this very like an unbearable pain that goes to the ear, or abscess that are like infections that goes out of the tooth and through the gum, etc. I was mentioning, of course, the breath, and sadly, to 90 or more % of my patients, I need to bring, sadly I said, because it's a lot, it's a high rate of percentage, that it was not like that before the pandemic. It just kind of start to go even more, that the quality of the sleep is not the same. Many people is having bruxism, many people is grinding their teeth. And this is an answer of being in alert, of being in fight and flight mode. And this is moves to the moment in which we don't need it anymore. That is when we are going to rest and digest, that is during the night. And then going back to this simple tool of observe our breath, of recognize the body language of releasing, and so other simple strategies just to feel that we are guiding ourselves to a deep quality of sleep. It truly makes the difference. Then to my patients, I just say, this is a little ritual before we go to bed. And this is not only for those that grind their teeth. This could be helpful for all. It's just to go to bed, observe 3 factors. That is, the first one is the body language, the way that we place our body in the bed. that is like a Shavasana position. The arms are open, the legs are open. Then it comes the breath. That is the second point of observation. Then when we observe our breath, it should be wide and open. It should be not wide and open, wide and extensive. And it should include like this sensation that when we exhale, we truly surrender the weight of our body in the bed. And when we inhale, we feel how our body expands. That is a full breath through the nose. Then we go at least 3 cycles there. That is not that many time if we think of time, for example. And then the third aspect is the verbal language. That when my patient experience bruxism and they're in this pattern of needed to defend or to protect, maybe for something that already passed, it already expired, but it's still present in their present. Then this new pattern of that needs to be repatterned in our mind could be: I feel safe, I am safe, I am at peace, I can rest. As simple as that. Then just observing body language, the breath, and the verbal language with this phrase 1, 2, 3, or 5 times. And then the quality of the dream is totally another, because we are guiding ourselves instead of just closing our eyes and fall asleep without having this intermediate time in which our brain waves comes from the beta that are active, that are learning, to the theta state. Then we do need the alpha state in order for our brain to go to a deeper state of sleeping, and a much more quality way of sleeping as well. Of course, the nutrition, the holistic nutrition, then I'm just mentioning this, but it's a whole aspect that I love to ask, and many of my patients, we work together to do, for example, intermittent fast, or to observe how is the diet, and to recognize how it is influencing in the quality of their minerals in their tooth, and of course in their bones. And then it's very particular because we are very unique. Then I don't believe in diets. I do believe in adjustments in the way we perceive that we nourish ourselves. And then I based my approach with Ayurveda. I study Ayurvedic nutrition and in order to help my patients on this aspect. Then going back to the dentistry, then the Ernest Adler was the father of the neurofocal dentistry, that is that neurotherapy approach in which we apply little quantities of anesthesia or procaine, that is the anesthesia substance that we apply. And this began in the 50s in Germany. And this just arrived to Costa Rica or to Latin America until the 80s, something like that. Then there are a lot of studies being done, especially in Europe, and all the information that we receive from this first approach is that the different materials that we put in the mouth of our patients, the interaction of them could be harmful. The different materials that we put in the teeth of our patients are interacting with the rest of the body. And whatever thing we do in the mouth of our patients is creating an interaction not only with the mouth and the physical health, but also with the mental and emotional realms. Because there is information there, as we were sharing, that if we move, for example, with orthodontics, it's so fun because many patients, they use orthodontics, they use this kind of brackets and to realign their teeth, and then they come and they were not using the retainers. And then there is 1 or 2 teeth that they move back to the position because there is information that still hasn't been informed, hasn't been come to the surface of the awareness. Then, of course, there are other patients that they come with these retainers that they had the orthodontic treatment for 5, 7 years, or hopefully less, 3 years, let's say. But then they come with a retainer for the last 20 years. Then the teeth have been there, trapped in a line of metal for the last 20 years. And these have been seen as something normal, regular in the dentistry and in orthodontics as well. for the purpose of having the teeth aligned, having all them online, you know, like the kids seated in the past, or in some places still in the schools, one behind the other, all in a row, or in the office, everybody in their own square, you know. We are not like that. We do have information and personality that needs to be expressed. Then this is a whole topic, and of course, I'm in favor of the aesthetics and all of this. And when it's necessary, orthodontics are great, but sometimes it's truly not necessary. And the impact that is creating all of these metals through these years in the patient, and then in the nervous system that is kind of trapped. This is called an interference, and resonates for the whole life after of our patients. And this is a map that relates, that links the different teeth with organs, as you see. Then in 2015, I graduated from neural therapy with my teachers that were Julio César Payán de la Roche. He already passed away. He was declared the father of the philosophy of the neural therapy in the world, recognized by all the different schools of neural therapy in the world, because he's the way that he perceived the self was like this. There are other ways that people, or that doctors or teachers in neurotherapy teach about the techniques, the to-do break techniques in neural therapy, and that's very important. It's great, but also it's mechanical. Then I have the great fortune to be on hands of Julio César Payán and Doctora José Osorio, in which they both keep insisting on us that we were not just seeing a person, we were seeing an universe. That every moment that a person comes to us, it was the whole universe there. And for me, those concepts were already kind of part of my lexic, of my understanding, because of yoga or other different cosmovisions that I had studied, but never in a medical aspect. Then for me, that was truly revealed that is. I was thinking, okay, maybe dentistry or health was just like that, but it's not. It's inclusive as well. And Dr. Julio César Payán bring me that approach, and then yeah, I just want to give honor to him. Then the Huneke brothers, well, in 1928, were the kind of the first of the pioneers of the neural therapy. And the interesting about this is that it has a local effect. The neural therapy, when we put this substance that is called procaine, it has a local effect in the part, creating a change in the voltage of the cells, and then this results in an anti-inflammatory effect, although it has an unspecific effect. And this is the mysterious way of the neural therapy, that because we are so connected through the whole body, through the meridians, also through our nerves, of course, and through our bloodstream, then sometimes when we apply different substances, we can have these unexpected responses that are linked to the cause. And then there are it includes this kind of therapy, includes the physiological knowledge, includes the technique knowledge, includes the scientific knowledge, and includes the intuitive knowledge that is an interaction of the patient with the therapist there in that present moment. That for me, it's wonderful. It's wonderful because in that moment of interaction, we both are so merged that we are receiving and exchanging information and knowledge from one each other. It's not that the therapist is doing all the part and then having all the credit. It's actually the patient healing her or himself, and then reflecting that. And the therapist, if it's able to, can observe that process in the way that can heal herself or himself as well in other realms, because healing is for all. When one heals, everything heals. Then this is part of my approach. Some of the things that I share here are part of what have been learning, the way it has been taught, but some others are just part of what I have like conceived as what I have been experienced in these years of therapies and work together with patients. Christian Bayer, he's a physician and a dentist in France, that he brings this term of psychoneural dentistry. Then this is the way that I was sharing with you before, in which each tooth, even the temporary teeth, have information in relationship with the different relationships. Then we do have all this constellation of relationships that began with what we may say that it was the primordial relationship with mother and father, and then so on, the family, the masculine lineage and the feminine lineage. And then these codes that each tooth has that could be related with rejection of the clan, or the exclusion, or the fruit of the womb, or the me as a daughter of the father. Then this kind of cues, when I bring this to my patients, that I don't throw it just like a bomb, there is a preamble of that, but it always amazes me how there is always something related that comes out like a bubble that comes out from the depth of a lake, and poof, it's so light. It's actually so light. It's just that has been stored in the depth, but when it comes out, it's so light that just create lightness, and like this sensation of then it doesn't need to go and dig into the past. It's just to bring clarity to those aspects. And this relationship of the psychoneural immunoendocrinology, that is a whole word, but this is our psyche related with our nervous system, related with our immune system, related with our endocrine system, that are the chakras and the glands. And this is what we may call the integrative way. And then the questions are like, what are my interested in? What is the interest that my patient has for this cavity to be in this tooth? Then, for example, a cavity is not because there are bacteria there, as we were seeing from Pasteur and Béchamp. It's not because of the bacteria. We do have more bacteria in our mouth than in our anus. And of course, there are alterations, and bacteria could be affect or create infections. But why sometimes those bacteria choose just one tooth? Or why sometimes when I'm checking, there is like periodontal disease instead in the whole mouth in just one tooth? And then this information comes that there is an interest in that patient, in that person, that this could be expressed. And if this is not expressed here, it could be expressed in the organ related to this meridian. Sometimes then I apply a substance, or I apply information, because information is a medicine as well. And what happens is that resonates in the organ, in the organ that is far from it. And or I do a palpation in the organ and resonates in the tooth. Then because of this link, then this is amazing. This is truly the recognition of how we are so complex and at the same time so perfect, and that the many ways that we have to understand life. It's much more simple than one we thought, or in the sense that we do have all the answers, and we do know that maybe for sayings of teachers or like that, we do have all the answers, but it's true. it's truly true. It's just that sometimes we don't know how to reach those answers because they are on the bottom of that lake, and maybe that's why we are like accompanying our patients in this way, to walk together in order for these answers to flow, to come up to the surface, and that we both, patient and therapist, could nourish of this experience. And this is my beloved Dr. Jorge Carvajal, that he is the pioneer in synergetics. This is another tool that I have in my baggage to observe whenever it's needed. And this is an integrative model for life. and he created a code of lecture in the systemic observation in the nervous system as well, that it's a merging or conversion of the different cosmovisions of health. And then he proposed a vision of synthesis, that is aligned with the different developments of the science. Then is combining the science and the consciousness, o la ciencia y la conciencia. That is ciencia con conciencia, is science with consciousness, science with awareness. And what it looks is to integrate with in an operative way the different medical systems of the world, that includes, as we know, the Chinese traditional medicine, the Ayurvedic medicine, all the psychoneural immunoendocrine, immunoendocrinology, and the ancestral ways of observation as well, the shamanistic ways, and more the Occidental as well as based on Paul and Pischinger, that they were describing how these cells, the health of the cell, if we go to the cell as the smallest object that could be observed to be healthy or not in our organism, and then from the cell, then the tissue, and then the system, the organ, the system. And if we go to the cell, then it's just change of voltage. If the cell goes with a change of voltage that is lower, then it will just get diseases, and as simple as that. And if the voltage is come back, then we will have a healthy cell, and then a healthy tissue, and a healthy organ, and so on. And this is something very interesting related with the synergetics approach. If you see your hand, then you are able to see the pinky finger that is related with earth, with tierra, and also related with the heart. And the relationship with this earth and the heart, truly the organ of the heart, that is related with our self-identity, with our matter. And then if we move to the ring finger, that is related with water, with agua, and also with the organs of the kidneys and the self-adaptability. Then if the earth was the matter, the water is the energy. Then if we move to the middle finger, that is the fire, that is the realm of information, and is the self-transformation, link it with our intestines. And then the air in the index finger, related with integration, and also the state of emergency, whatever emerges, link it with our lungs. And the ether, that represents the brain, that is the synthesis or the awareness. Then a very, very simple tool that we have to explore, and that I would love to share with you, is the dynamics of change that goes from the matter in the pinky finger to the energy, to the information, to the integration, and to the awareness. Then this movement from the matter to the awareness is a movement, is a sublime movement. It's a movement that goes from the most dense to the most light. And this is a transmutation movement. Then sometimes when there's a pain in our body that seems to be very, very solid in ourselves, and we create a circuit, because synergetic is based on circuits, as energy is based on circuits as well. And we can use our hand to bring this part of our body that we want to enhance, or that we want to release this tension or this congestion, and then creating a circuit with our own self. One is placed in the site of that is kind of bringing us some information, and the other is doing this movement of transmutation. Then without we need to understand it, we are elevating from the density to the awareness, because that pain or that discomfort or that inflammation or that situation is calling our attention because of something. It's because it's the need of attention. Then if we are elevating it to the awareness, then we just observe that in that pause that we will do and connecting this circuit, we're doing our part. And I'm just inviting you to do it whenever you feel called to, even if you have a pain, to see what happens to you. But often this pain goes down, and often this clarity of the information that is bringing this pain comes to the surface. Then we can have or take new decisions. And also to the other way around, if we bring from the ether down to this information of the emergency, the air and the fire and the water and the air, then is the movement of transformation. Then, for example, sometimes we have this idea, this great idea, or this aspect, this thought that we don't know how to materialize it, how to crystallize it, how to bring it to transform, how to bring it to matter. Then if you are observing that thought and you do this movement, because I can say it on my own life, it has worked as it's an alchemy. If you observe this is the patterns of alchemy, it's transformation, transmutation. Then bringing this, then you are inviting to transform this from this subtle aspect of the awareness and thought to the matter, to the reality. And just a simple thing that we can do with our hands, because Jorge Carvajal from Synergetics, he also shares a lot all the tool, all the power that we have in our hands that we do know. It's like our nuestra varita mágica, our magic tool. You know, it's how do we know our hands? Do we really know them? Do we really use them the way it should be? Then recognize just these little things of that are the links of the different elements in our hands, coming back to the all on, and also the different organs related to them. It's very beneficial to ourselves. I'm almost finishing. This about the frequency and the microcurrents that Dr. Yoral Reef, he said that every disease has a frequency as well as everything else. Our organs, they have already quantified that when our organ is healthy, it has a specific frequency, and when it's far from the health, or from what is a healthy state, it will have another frequency. Then it's as simple as bringing the organ back to the original frequency it should have. Then Marcus Schmicke, he was the creator of Time Waver and Healy. He was a monk for 12 years, and his service to humanity through meditation, he recognized that it was done with his service through that. And he came back to the laboratories and he designed first the Time Waver. And through the Time Waver, it was a machine. It is a machine still available that is like a size of a half of a wall. Patients, they go to the consult and they need to sit there. But then he felt that the need that this should be portable, that this should be as small as something that you can carry. And then he designed the Healy, that is, as you see, the size of the palm of a hand. And then through the technology that we have, he thought about not even putting a screen on it, because we all have access to cell phones. People, they do have even 2 or 3 cell phones now. Then all the programs will be in their phones and will be transferred to the Healy whenever it's needed. Then it is often used and approved by the FDA for chronic pains and acute pains from arthritis and migraines, also muscular pains because of excess, and it enhances sleep, it regulates anxiety process and depression. And this is just something to name some of them. But the 300 programs are for beyond the physical aspects, includes again the mental aspects, the emotional aspects. It has an analysis of the aura. It has an analysis of the coach, like things that I want to bring to this matter. What are the situations, the aspects that should be recalibrate through frequencies to be used. Then it's another complement that I use with my patients, and I encourage the people to have it, because it's the way that we can get sovereignty again on our own health, and go to the different specializations whenever it's needed. And as conclusions, then the human being that arrived to my consultation should be evaluated and treated in an integrative way. It's just like that. It's not a mechanical thing. And when someone comes well, now my patients, somehow it's just this kind of patients that they come for that. But at some point before, it was more like, yeah, but I have pain here, I just need, and it was like, yes, we will go there, we will address that. But now more and more persons, they appreciate that there is this integrative way of seeing the health. Then it should be included in the check-in app. It should be included the lifestyle, the emotional states, the mental patterns, among others. Also, that the interactions among the different materials, dental materials for future treatments, should be studied. And this is a key to avoid damage. That sometimes this damage in our patient could be silent, could be something that won't be recognized as pain or discomfort in the immediate 1 or 2 years. But after, this could create an energetic congestion, not in the mouth, but in the knee or in the nervous system that is related with the vagus nerve. Then a patient won't be able to relax, or in the meridian of the kidneys, that then it will have like water retention and so on. And the dental situation in our patients is not isolated, is neither segmented or fragmented, is part of a conflict that should be addressed with the complexity of the self. And when we evaluate and treat our patients, or my patients, in this holistic and integrative way, I am collaborating with the resolution of a deepest cause that is more than just the symptoms, the superficial symptoms. And muchas gracias. Thanks. I'd love to open for some questions if there are.
Hey, Rosa, I want to ask, how was your path? You started in regular dentistry, and then you wavered into this holistic type. What directed you in this way? It's a unique pattern, I find.
Yeah, I studied in regular dentistry 6 years, and then I was almost retired after 2 years of working because I was like, what am I doing here? What this is totally like mechanical, I'm not solving anything. I mean, pain is gone, but it was constricted on my soul. And then, yes, I do have a moment of like, introspection and like, for many people, I was kind of lost in the sense of, she went out to travel for years, and then I don't know, all the expectations maybe, but I kind of just found myself back when I had my first son. The pediatrician, he told me about neurotherapy, and then he said, why you are not working? And I was just like, it's not for me, dentistry is not for me anymore. And he was like, yes, it is for you, but this approach. And then he presented me like the first map of how teeth are related with the organs. And then I went deeper and deeper, how teeth are related also with the psyche, and how everything is so complex. And this complexity, I love it, because I recognize that complexity is like a piece of art, that we are such a miracle, such a piece of art we are as humans. And the interaction among us, like in consultations or in communities or in families, starting with, with our daughters and sons, or with our husbands and wives, is such an interesting way of seeing this. Yeah. Then yes, it was. Yeah, I have been gathering the different tools and creating my own perspective.
If Rosa, that was really beautiful. I really love this. I have my dentist right now wants to write a book called Sacred Dentistry. It sounds like that's what your line. What do you think about the tongue tie surgery? Do you know about that?
The time?
The tongue tie, where they cut the skin there.
Sí.
What do you think about that?
Sometimes it's needed, yeah, sometimes it's needed, and sometimes it's needed because, but it should be addressed why and what is the decision of being done. But yeah, many things in mouth, like for example, cutting this part of, or sometimes near the lip, that is like also like a little line that is tied in there. It could release tension actually in the system, and this could be helpful, and something that should be addressed in that way, like observe if there is a need because of, not only there, but because of what other parts of the self is being recognized that this is needed. And for example, the removal of the wisdom teeth, that some people, they say that we should remove them all, or the removal of the amalgams, that are the metal restoration that used to be used not so far away, not so long ago. And sometimes this could be very dangerous, because every change of amalgam is a change of voltage in the whole system in the mouth, and the whole neural system will receive this as something. And then some patients, they arrive after removal 3 or 4 in a row, or even worse, some in one quadrant and then in the other quadrant, the same appointment, because they are traveling and then they need to fix them all. And the chaos that creates is overwhelming for the system. And then start to create then we need to go in a slow pace with these kind of things, and the observation of the different particularities of the person. It's not for everybody to remove all the wisdom teeth. It's not for everybody to do. It's very particular on the person.
Thank you.
Then I do, gracias también, many thanks to you as well. I do apply, it's a substance that is called, Jessica, procaine. It was synthesized as an anesthetic in the 20s, and it's just that it was not as efficient as a lidocaine, that is the regular anesthetic that we apply in dentistry. It was not as effective because the time frame of effect was very short, although it was like determined that when it was studied in microscope with a soluble solution and in a polarized light, excuse me, the way it was seen, the procaine was like a kaleidoscope, multichromatic, and different than the lidocaine, that is also multichromatic, but it was seen as lines, very just simple lines, beautiful, but lines. The other was alive. Then it was called crystal of life. And after it was, these studies about the application of the procaine versus lidocaine, when it is applied, then we just have an effect in the place. Sometimes if there is application in some parts of the head or in ganglios, then it could affect other parts. But the procaine always has an unspecific effect in other parts of the body that could be very evident in the moment, or could be afterwards, when, I don't know, there are people, I have experiences in physical realm, like release of pain in other parts of the body, and I have experience with patients emotional reactions, for example, that they remember things that happened that they didn't know that they need to remember, like the loss of a child, or of a situation with the father, or things like this is the mysticism of the therapy. This is when we enter in realms that in science we don't know. We just don't know. In regular conventional science, science approach is just unknown, because it hasn't been a study, because it's a mystery, and mysteries are mysteries. Then couldn't be explained. Although this doesn't mean that does not exist. This doesn't mean that this patient doesn't have this wound there that should be addressed in order for the well-being to come in an integrative way. Some people say that the wisdom teeth come in crooked when it goes straightened out. Sorry. I practice here in Costa Rica, in Orotina and in San Jose, and about the wisdom teeth. Yes, if they don't have space, we have been evolving in the size of our mandible, that is the lower bone, that sometimes we don't have space for the wisdom teeth. then if we don't have a space, they will come like in an horizontal position, kind of pressing the other and creating a lot of tension in the nervous system, and only the possibility of cavity in the root and other disturbances, then it should be removed. There are moments that it should be removed, and that's where like the specializations like surgeons in the different areas are great, because we do need great specialists to do these kind of things when they're needed. And about that, wisdom teeth serve the pituitary. Wisdom teeth are related with the heart as well. Then if they can stay in mouth, they are also linked with our heart, and not only the heart as our organ, but also the heart chakra. Then if they have space to be there, they could be there. If our body has already determined that the structure, physiological structure of the body is not to hold another tooth, we should listen to that, because we are in a process of evolution. Excuse me. Then what is important here is to observe that we are in a transition. Our human race is truly in a transition. Many of our youngs, they come without the wisdom teeth. They just don't have it. They don't have 2, or they don't have the 4 of them. And it's interesting also that. Okay. Muchas gracias. Many thanks for your attention. And yeah, looking forward. We close. I'm going to finish the recording.